I bought this Rival Curve Shot, I don't know, Sideswipe, something like that, at the thrift store today, $3.99 plus tax. It was jammed. I bought it despite that and despite this loading door only being on the one side, which irks me to no end. Will not prime, will not fire. So I thought I can probably fix that maybe. This just locks the trigger in place. This button should let me pull the bolt back all the way, right? It does not. This will not go back. I kind of wonder if there's something... I don't know. Probably have to open it up. I can see one ball down the barrel. Alright. I'm thinking it's time to open this thing up. You can't work on it when the bolt is on this side because it puts it really off. That's annoying as heck. Curse you and your one-sided blaster stuffs. As I was getting the last screws out, I could already tell it was going to spring apart. So I'm kind of bracing for the worst mentally. But there's one spring. I'll be honest, I have no idea why this wouldn't prime. So far, anyway. Nothing really looks off here yet. Aha, you know what? It won't prime. Something back here. What is... some kind of a lock. Oh. I can see broken plastic back here. This will be easier to work on if I remove the main spring, which fortunately removes quite easily. This mechanism here reminds me of the ratchet in the Kronos, only on the top, of course. So this is our main priming mechanism. You pull the bolt back and it locks, and then the bolt doesn't go forward. You pull that. Let's say the thing doesn't leave the blaster. You pull that and it springs forward. I mean, that's not too complicated. So the question is, what did this lock do? And do I need it? Those are the questions. What did this lock do, and do I need it? A little bit of quick commentary. First off, the catch, which is now... where did I put the catch? It's around here somewhere. Here's the catch. The catch, the spring, using finger quotes here, the spring of the catch is just one of these plastic things. That is extremely disappointing, and I can't see that lasting terribly long. Given that the catch just went in here, right? So realistically, if that breaks, I think you could replace this with an actual metal spring, because it rests against this ridge right here. Now on to the actual breakage. I still don't know yet, but there is a piece of, can you see that? Oh, there's a piece of twisted plastic right there. Okay, so hopefully a quick update. The way the action of this blaster works, it's interesting, and for all I know, it's the same way that other rival blasters work. But what happens is, let's release the plunger. So here is the, let's call it the breech, I guess. Normally that's closed. When you prime the blaster, there's this lever here that opens the breech by being pressed on some tabs on that bar. So that will open it. The spring-loaded action will force a ball into there. The plunger rod catches in the back. So this is still open, and then you do have to prime it forward in order to close the breech again. So the thing that came out, logically, it would make the most sense if this is the lock that keeps it from being able to be primed again when the blaster is already primed. And it probably ties in, no doubt, with this button here that releases that, lets it open again if you have a jam. I'm guessing what the previous owner did was probably to forcibly prime the blaster when it was already primed, but that's totally a guess. And they probably broke this lock and then messed up that plastic there. What I have noticed, of course, this is the priming indicator, so that this gets pressed and this yellow will show through this little hole if the blaster is primed. And yeah, I think that's about it. The question is, of course, knowing that that is presumably what that lock is, do I care enough to try to resolve it? Alright, so if you don't already love Blaster Hub, well, you probably should. Buff Daddy Nerf always, or frequently, almost always, almost all the time, if not all the time, posts internal shots, so thank you so much, Buff. This appears to be the correct placement of this lock with a tiny, not very strong spring. I did try to straighten out that bent flap of plastic a little bit. It does have the possibility, honestly, of breaking in the future, so I'm going to have to forego this idea if this should fail in the future, but for now, I just kind of want to get it back to mostly stock-ish if I can. Can I just take a moment to say, this is amazing, the plunger head on this is actually padded. There's a soft, it's not really foam, I think it's rubber. It's actually padded, that's amazing. I am noticing a kind of a chicken-egg situation here, because if you want this ratcheting lock in here, the tab on it goes in this gap, but in order to get that gap to line up with it, the spring would have to be compressed, so it's kind of tricky. Basically, that's how this ratchet goes in, and then you have to push it forward. That. Okay, it does rest in a position there, but then you still need to get the plunger on, so it's kind of tricky. Now comes my time-honored tradition of putting in just enough screws to hold it together while I test it. Oh, crap. Oh, that's a bad sound. Nope, totally didn't work. Okay, so when reassembling this blaster, see the hole here on this pivoting piece, and there's a hole on the other side. Unsurprisingly, but overlooked by me, there is a post on that post right there. The hole on the underside has to go on that post, and then presumably when you close it, the blaster back up, there's going to be a corresponding post on the other side of the shell, and that is how the pivoting action of opening and closing the breech worked. So, probably among other faults, I had overlooked that. Alright, here is the moment of truth. Alright, it works. Actually, it worked better than I thought. So, the verdict on this blaster is, from me, kind of mixed. I ultimately went with not putting this lock back in. Well, I did put it in, but then it didn't work, so I think that somehow this lock failed. This appears to be the lock that, when you prime the blaster, that prevents you from pulling the trigger while the prime is back. The lock that keeps the bolt forward when the blaster's primed, that's still there, and this button lets you overcome that. So I'm not really sure what exactly happened, but we can definitely function without this lock. wasn't working anyway. And I'm gonna call that fixed. Thank you for watching. I hope this was watchable. I've been at this for like over an hour, so I don't know what the product will turn out to be like, but we'll see. Hey, give us a like and a subscribe and all that stuff if you enjoyed this. Thanks.